Hello and welcome to a Smite video. Now this Smite video might be very easy to understand and very easy to read. This is a list of the top 14 most ridiculous / unfair god abilities. Now I'll explain that a little bit with a little bit of an intro first. What I will be doing is looking at every single god in the game, and I'll be compiling the top 14 most unfair abilities, ridiculous abilities, and just completely ridiculous gods. Now I'll break that down a little bit more with the listings. I will be looking at certain, I'd say I break it up into 3 categories. Quite simple. Numbers 14 to 7 are gods who have either 1 or 2 unfair abilities that give them an advantage over every other character in the game. This also looks at the character in question as sort of almost a, they can do that, but someone else can do that, but their version of it is a lot weaker. Or I'll be looking at it in the terms of, they can do this, but no one else in the game can do it. And when you have a character who can do that they have a unique ability, could be a passive, could be an ultimate, but no other character in the game actually gets that, only them, is a little bit unfair. Now I'm not talking about their ult in general, I'm talking about an effect. Such as they could have an effect that fully restores their life. Or in some ways they could have an effect that brings somebody back to life. No character can bring somebody back to life except from one, and no character can fully restore their health except from one. So those 2 will be under the listings. Now I'll be covering all sorts of characters. Guardians, assassins, warriors, mages and hunters will all be included in this list. I will also be covering some characters that share the same ability, sort of, but the main person I'll be covering is who I believe has the stronger effect. For example, what you might see on this list is a comparison between, a prime example, someone like Neef, whose ultimate hits one person across the map. Now, spoiler for the video, Neef is actually not on this list. Tempting, but there is somebody who does Neef's ultimate but better, and quite frankly very more unfair. Now just the last few things to specify for this list. There are characters who I would have said possibly could have been under this list, such as Alquan, Achilles and Thanatos. Now all 3 of them could have been under this list, for they all have instant kill abilities. But all of them require something to get it to work. Achilles and Thanatos having the harder based instant kill abilities, while Alquan is actually relatively easy to use in terms of you just need to be at their feet. They are not on this list. Also, I'm not counting the instant kill ability as a annoying ability, because it actually requires something to do it, as in you need to get somebody low HP. For characters as Achilles and Thanatos have to be in relative close proximity, and they do need to manage how to hit them properly, while Alquan does actually have to be right near them. However, with Alquan you can counter it with both amulet and beads, so instant kill abilities will not be classed under my listings. And the last thing, as it stands for this game, or this listings, I am not including the newest god. Morgana Le Fay is not included in this list. Would she have been? Yes, she would have. There are a few things very strong about this lovely woman, but as my rulings state, I will not be including the newest person, because they will get nerfs and buffs. So the top 14 to 7 are gods who I believe do have a little bit annoying abilities. Don't hate them by any stretch. Gods 7 to 4... Sorry, yeah, it'll be 14 to 8. That would be that bracket. And then gods 7 to 4 have very strong abilities and are quite annoying gods, but doesn't mean I hate them by any stretch. And then we have the final three, who I consider to be the worst gods, the dumbest gods, and gods who I don't know how they got past the testing team for this game. Now, of course, this will be a little bit biased, but I am actually covering a lot of things that have been picked up by other gamers that I see from playing this game and other people I play with. Now, it doesn't mean that I have missed anybody. I might actually include or make another list in the near distant future. And quite a few of these gods might actually need some buffs. And I do want to specify the last thing, or clarify the last thing. By any stretch, I don't hate Smite. I've been playing Smite for about 4 years now, and I really do love the game. The maps are they're very interesting and fun. The emotes, the skins, all cool. Great concept. The battle in combat is a brilliant system. My only problem with this game are the gods, and I refer to the newer gods coming out. After each god that is new keeps coming out, it makes me more and more disappointed in the game. And for a game that you've been playing for 4 years, it is very hard to give up on it because you love it so much. But it just keeps spiraling downhill. That's my preference, and that's what I see online preferences are. But who knows, Hi-Rez might decide to do something. So without further ado, let's get straight into this list at number 14. I'll see you there. Hello, starting off with number 14. Now I do want to specify this was actually going to be a 13 list rather than 14, but I found it much easier to make it in 2 halves and just do 7 then 7. So after I did all my little bit of research and playing the gods, I then came back and went, oh actually, you know what, I'm going to do a 7, 4 and a 3. But in the end I still said, yeah, Callie still had something I wanted to cover. Now Callie in any particular sense is not a picked god, she's not a particularly overpowered god, but she does have something that I will cover, which is her Mark of Death ability. And we're going to go over this one as quickly as I possibly can, because Callie, to be honest, should be picked a little bit more than she is. If she has marked you for death and she kills you, she recovers 80% of her health. And that is insanely overpowered. So she's an assassin. Her main purpose is to kill people. She's not a guardian. She's not there just to take damage. She's not a mage. She's not there to do damage. She's not a warrior, the best of both worlds. She's not an a carry who's basically crits. She is an assassin whose purpose is to jump on lanes and get kills. And if you've got her onto 1 HP, she can heal all her health. But what's even more annoying is the fact that her ultimate makes her invincible. So if she's got her ultimate on, she's invincible, then she kills her target, she heals 80%. Only reason why you're on here, Callie, is because you have a very strong combination. But without any said, let's just move straight on to number 13. It's an annoying ability, but we're going to get into some very annoying ones. Let's go now. Number 13. Heimdall, whichever way you want to pronounce it, the Vigilant. Now, as far as he goes as a hunter in general, he's actually probably not a great pick for a hunter, as a lot of his abilities and how he is, I don't know how he ever became a hunter to begin with. One of the few gods in the game that I question why he was just never a warrior, and arguments said. But to be fair, that's not this video. What we're looking at here are why is he annoying. Is it his square ability? Shoot something down? No. His passive, he's allowed to see invisible. Is it his horn? Is it his ult, which is basically like a Nijar ult? No. His one is the Bifrost. Now, how does this make Heimdall a very annoying god or unfair god? Split over the fact that this is also an Apollo problem as well. But Apollo's requires mana. Argument, we're going to quickly, or me, the editor, is going to throw in a video right now of this little moment. So we'll do a little split job, okay? Right this second. Bang.
minions have spawned. Your left tower is under attack.
If it worked, you saw that video. If it didn't, you'll see the video after I've done this. You can put in a game of Conquest at your area all the way to the enemy area, and as Heimdall you can teleport straight across. While you can do this with an Apollo ult, with Thanatos you can't. Thanatos will run out before he gets there. Apollo would have drained all of his mana before he arrived there. Heimdall, on the other hand, he can do that and still have mana to attack with. The whole aspect of being able to teleport point to point doesn't actually make sense. But maybe for a warrior, this would have made a lot of sense. As in, you probably wouldn't have had to have bought the blue relic that I can never remember what it's called. However, for some unknown reason, Heimdall became a hunter instead of a warrior, and then this was a hunter had this. So, an unfortunate thing. Apollo is in this bracket, but Heimdall just has so much more. Heimdallia has so much more problem. So number 13 on dumb abilities is Heimdallia. Number 12 is Gilgamesh or Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh. There you go. Easy peasy. King of the Uruk. Now, is there any surprise at all that one of the newer gods in this game is on this list? Not at all surprising. But let's go over why. As a warrior, he has a bunch of cool abilities that some of them seem to work. And he has more of the slow you down based ability and an overpowered... Yeah. The problem we have with this god in particular, why he's at number 12, is that he has abilities that are better than current god abilities, but that are unique in their own way. For example, Dropkick is basically Kumbragana's push away. In the same aspect of you punch a minion as Kumbragana, or you belly flop a minion, sends them flying through a stack of minions. While Gilgamesh can do that with an enemy god, can kick them through things, or kick them into a wall and basically knock them out. His leap is pretty overpowered at best, but that's not a problem. The only issue is why he gets a movement speed increase with his leap. It seems to be a problem that when Hi-Rez did this, they may have thrown in the fact that they were doing a movement speed decrease, but then gave him this. Who knows? We're also going to throw into the fact that his ult is basically Odin's, but even more overpowered. Plus, he doesn't have to be stood in the middle when he uses it. He can just drop it in combat whenever he feels like. It causes tick damage. It causes initial damage. His ult just seems insanely unfair, even for the fact of a warrior, that he's got so many overpowered abilities already. But the real reason he's on here, while I could complain about he's an unfair god, those two are just a little bit annoying. The real reason he's on here is because he has a Chung paced ability. Whereas Chung, for example, can send something back to go buy something, he has... When he's at level 5 or 10, he gets a quest. If he completes the quest, he gets an item, or 500 gold if the whole thing is complete. Like if you have a full inventory, you get 500 gold. This is why you're under here. That makes very little sense. Why does he get this? In a game of Conquest, that is very overpowered for an early game level 5er to get a random item. True, it might not be great, but you can sell it. But why is it that the newest gods need to have the new wackiest abilities? This doesn't make sense. But my problem with this is why he's number 12. It's not particularly ridiculous beyond any stretch. Is my problem, it's the newest god, and he already had two very strong abilities that dwarf already two existing gods. So, as stated, having two free items isn't the worst thing in the world, and basically being stronger than Kumbragana and Odin isn't really a threat. Them two aren't massive at the moment. So, let's move on to number 11. Number 11 is Hera. Is there really any surprise here? Now, I could throw in the same bracket as this, as such characters as Guzenbo, Skadi, Tiamat, and by now, or even Bastet. By now you've probably understood that these are minion summoning characters. Characters who can throw minions at people, such as Skadi. She can send her wolf to attack people. Guzenbo can throw one of his children at the enemy at high speeds. Great Father of the Year award. But Hera happens to have something a little bit better. She has a giant functioning mech. Now, this is Hera's main problem. Despite the fact her passive is whenever she does anything, basically Argus gets the bonus, Argus gets the benefit, and it cools down on Argus whenever she hits something with an ability or basic attack. It's very fun. But let's look at Argus. Argus is basically, a lot of people have said over the years, he's mixed. But he is the strongest minion that you can summon. Now, drop him in combat. Initially, when he lands, he causes damage. You can send him after someone, or target the tower, by the way, which is very broken. But in terms of that, if you use her shield, which makes perfect sense for a mage to have in the first place, it increases the speed of Argus so he can chase you down. It's always good when minions are faster than you can run. Always makes for a fun mechanic. But the fact that she didn't get a kill streak, she didn't get a special ornaments chest, she just called the Titanfall people and asked that, can we drop a mech in the middle of combat? To be fair, when looking at this doesn't really seem like a very clever idea for Hi-Rez to have done, nor to never really check up on, but okay, fair enough. And when I look at it, is it at all Hera is slightly strong? Actually, oddly enough, Hera is very strong. Another smaller detail, having polymorph, that's basically Cernunnos's ult, and she gets it in a one ability, and it has a cooldown of 14 seconds. She does what Cernunnos does a lot quicker. But overall, the main problem with Hera in terms of unfair ability is Argus, because when worse comes to worse, just drop a mech on them and you'll be fine. Moving on to number 11. Really would help if I could learn to count. I mean, moving on to number 10 would very help if I could count while making this tier list. Oh, looky, Suka Stupid. Sorry, Tsukayumi. I really gotta learn how to read as well as count. God of the Moon. Well now, where do we talk about this delightful hunter? Now, let's see. What is the problem with I've got him written down, but I don't know why. Okay, let me have a look. Tsukayumi, the hunter. What? Oh, that's right. He's not a hunter. Silly me. The whole problem with Tsukayumi is why the hell does an assassin have that many ranged abilities, and why the hell is he that strong? Now, if we look, two types of range. Spikes that cause more damage than Sin, slow you down, and ranged, and a laser light show that if he hits you, he teleports to you and starts cutting you. The whole problem with Tsukayumi is why is there a ranged assassin to begin with? Such is the same with Ao Quan. Why is there a physical assassin, but why is there a physical mage, but Ao Quan makes sense, you build him as an assassin. You don't build Tsukayumi as a hunter. When Tsukayumi first dropped, he didn't make sense, and still to this day he doesn't make sense. Nowadays, you keep seeing him as a A-ranked god, an S-ranked god, and it doesn't matter how many times you nerf him, the easiest thing you can do is just change him to an assassin. However, that doesn't happen. The real reason Tsukayumi's on here is because he just doesn't make sense as an assassin, and why he has so many heavy abilities. He has a stun, he has a teleport, he has a slow. and then 2 ranged based. So the only real reason this guy is on here is he's actually a hunter, but he's in the wrong role. And does that make him annoying? It actually really does. Doesn't matter what game type you go into. If you fight a Tsukiyumi, you will get slaughtered. And do want to clarify, I was here when he first came on, and I took him on with a very strong Achilles build, and he battered me. So it's another god that unfortunately is very strong at what they do, and high res, I still say, I'll say it through every single one of my videos from this date, high res still don't know how to make a balanced god. And this guy is the really bad idea going in the wrong direction. Right, now then, we move on to number 9. Coming in at number 9, we have Persephone, Queen of the Underworld. Now, in many ways, Persephone would have been much higher on this list. However, she did have a rework, so I dropped her down a few places. And I do want to still specify, I know we've gone through it already, but I want to specify, these are annoying gods, but I am saying that there are strong gods, like Tsukiyumi, like Gilgamesh, like everyone I've spoken about so far, they are strong. High Res, a personal message for you. When you do a rework, can you please make sure you actually do something to make them less strong? This delightful woman is still broken. But let's go into really why she is annoying. Now, despite the fact her abilities cause more damage, and they still cause damage, still causing damage still really hurts you. No matter who you are, she'll slice you and dice you. It's almost similar to that of like a Skilla, whatever her name is. She would have been on this list. Spoiler, sorry, she's not here. She's a very strong god, but her abilities kind of make sense, aside from the damage. Flourish, yep, it's a leap. Questioning why does a god need a leap that also causes explosive damage. Very, very interesting. Thanks for that. And a very, very great one. And still one of her strongest abilities. It still causes damage. It still is broken as hell. But the real reason she's still on here is her passive. When she dies, she travels to the plane, she can harvest seeds, respawns, yes, all of this lovely stuff. Why does she still get to do that? When she was dead, she could still attack from the grave. A lot of people questioned, can you change this because this is very unfair? She already has so many abilities that make her ridiculously strong. So High Res's idea was to change it so that she comes back, but she can plant seeds. The seeds that no one can destroy. Now we get to why she's under this list for annoying. Despite the fact her role is basically a cage grabbing thing that has to be shot, and I still question the bugginess of that ability. I don't think that thing, you can be shooting it for ages and it doesn't break. I think there might be a bug with that. I did mention it already, but, well, don't really pick up on bugs much, do they? And despite the fact that her passive's still annoying, she can heal herself, she can get gold from them, they can be sold for 3 gold apiece. Joy. But the real reason is her seeds cannot be destroyed. Now that's the main source of her attack. And you think about it, other characters who can do that. A Muzenkub? Yep, his beehives. You destroy them, he's doomed, but they're his main source of tick damage. Arpwash, when he sends out his corpses, they detonate, causing massive amount of damage. He can pick them up and heal off of them. So there are other characters who require these sort of things, but why is it Persephone, a goddess who is already insanely strong, you can't actually touch them? Characters like Arachne, who kind of use them, she summons out spiders. You can't destroy them as such, but you can walk into them to trigger them, then kill them. Persephone seemed to have been the god that got released that was insanely broken upon release, and has still been broken since then. And it's even more funny that after her rework, she is still broken. And I still question, do High Res know what the hell they're doing? Still want to say, great fun to play, but when you play up against gods like these, and High Res say they're fine, there's a problem. But without saying it, number 9, you can't destroy the seeds. They're her whole thing. She comes back to life. She traps you in a cage. And she's a mage. Great. That's number 9. Let's move on to number 8. Number 8, Tiamat. And the last one in the list of bracket A. Tiamat, goddess of the salt sea. Are we at all surprised why one of the most terrifying alien flying bird things are on this list? Well, maybe. Let's see what we have. Yep. Oh, you can now change your stance. Yeah, ultimate. Yeah, let's... Tiamat already has an insanely large amount of abilities and effects. What's even more better is she also has a heal. And I do want to point out a timestamp. Tiamat came out when they were looking at the heal system, and they changed the heal system to make it better. They didn't do anything and they made it worse. Sorry, a different preference. But the reason why Tiamat surprised me is if you're looking at the heal system, why would you release a god that can heal? Doesn't add up. If you're looking at changing it, to nerfing it, and all that. But the great thing about Tiamat, there are certain abilities that are cool. I mean, she's basically a Merlin wannabe with even more abilities. She can summon 4 times the minions as every other minion summoner. She actually can summon more dangerous minions than Hera. And in many ways, when this game first came out, there was a great video that I can't actually find anymore, nor do I think anyone would let me use it, because no one likes me, of a single Tiamat being able to solo a Titan with nothing more than minions. And it's good to know that they changed that maybe about 2 months ago. So that had been out for one hell of a long time. Tiamat is another brilliant example of them failing to test a god. Of a god that was given so many abilities, so many strong abilities, and never tested. But the real reason that Tiamat is under this list is, I mean, I could complain about characters like this, multi-skill ability gods. I could complain about Merlin, I could complain about Tyr, Artio. But there's one thing Tiamat does that no other god in the entire game does. And that is replicating buffs. Now, when I read some of these, I read them once, then I read them twice, and I might have overread or misinterpreted something, but I couldn't actually see anything that talked about that. Now, I don't know how. It could actually be on the screen right this second, but I didn't see it. And that's just me not being able to read properly. But somehow, whenever Tiamat kills a damage camp or something, the item drops. 2 of them. She picks up 1, and then another one drops. I can't seem to see that anywhere. Fire orbs, hitting an enemy, additional orbs at rank 3, inner area of field, stuns enemies, larger damage, leap, hardening skin, dealing damage, yep, breaks, normal minions do, yep, I see all of this, but somehow it's still in the game. I don't know if this is a glitch or a typo, but nowhere in hell should any god ever be able to do anything regarding the buffs, and that is hands down. Now, the only reason she's not number 1 in this is because the other 7 I will mention are just stupid at the moment, but it's more to the fact that any god in the game who can mess with a buff, as in duplicating or doubling the strength of it, should be instantly changed. Because a buff is something that every character in the game can get, and you can't change it. You can steal it, but it's something default that everybody gets. Such as, solo lane, both have the mana camp, support and carry, one has void, one has health, mid lane both have damage. But sometimes you could have the problem of now that maybe, oh, jungle, I don't want the speed cap, I want the damage cap as well. So they both get 1 each. And now, this could be different on any other game, any other platform, but every single time I've ever seen it, there's always been 2 buffs drop. Which is always suspicious. Now, I might have misread it, as I said. But, Tiamat at number 8. Just why that buff thing doesn't make sense. Right, now we move on to the remaining 7. And this is where things get interesting. As specified, 7, there are 4 and 3. 3, we'll talk when we get there. Let's go to number 7. Number 7, Danzabura, the legendary Tanuki suit. Raccoon, wrong game, sorry. Now, why is this little dog-looking thing with an RPG in this game? Oh, sorry, on this list. Now, this one is more of a grievance that I have with already existing hunters, such as Cupid, Izanami. Yeah, Cupid and Izanami, two already existing mages. Hunters. And potentially someone as maybe Neith, the last one. Danzabura puts all 3 of them together. Neith was going to be number 14 on this list, but I personally found Callie a little bit more annoying. So she went to the number 14 spot. Thinking about it now, I probably should have put Neith on here. But Danzabura is Neith in a nutshell. Similar to Gilgamesh, Danzabura is on here because his abilities are stronger versions of everyone else's, plus why does he have them all? And we'll go over them. This one is the main problem. CC in this game, crowd control, is a massive problem and needs to be looked at straight away. Problem with this is, why is it on a hunter? Throws out his pot and it draws people in with 3 ticks, and no matter what you do, you're in a dash, you're in an ability, it will pull you in. Very annoying and very broken and just beyond question. Understandable. Okay. Why does he get to heal? Why does the little raccoon get to heal from this ability? So not only has he got an insanely strong CC based ability, he gets to heal from this ability. This comes into play with Cupid. Cupid was the only hunter who could actually heal himself and allies with his ability. But now the little talking dog thing gets to have that as well. Now we move on to the next one. Turns himself invisible. Izanami in a nutshell. Not to mention his movement speed is increased and his leaf speed is increased. And of course it gives you the lovely effect of leaves where you can't tell which one is which and he just stems off. Why does the Tanuki raccoon need a very, very heavy crowd control, a heal, and an invisibility? Okay. Then we go on to another one, Neith's ability. Not as strong as Neith's ability, Neith being able to see through the map and shoot you from 500 miles away, but still as firing a tactical nuke predator missile directly at somebody that can curve around walls, he can jump in, blow up, and he's completely fine because he's magic. But he can launch a basic bomb at you which does that much damage and has a stun. More crowd control, Neith's ability but in an RPG format for close quarters, and can jump in it and he's completely fine. Not to mention his passive, he gets gold, another great looking Fafnir character, and Gilgamesh. So the reason Danzabura is on here is because he has so many abilities all into one god and it doesn't make sense. Why does this god have so many strong abilities, which are other problems with hunters to begin with, all merged into one character? Now, if you stretched it out a bit, this would have made sense, but the fact, invisibility, crowd control, heal, stun, target locking on bloody missile, and a gold buff. I'm not even going to mention his first one, which basically is the gold buff, which we don't really need to talk about. Danzabura is just too many very strong abilities with too many effects, which is why he's number 6. And you know you are, you cute little devil. You know why you're on here. Let's get to number 6, and number 6 is going to hurt me. Number 6 is Jormungandr, or whatever you want to call him. Now, why is the colossal giant snake on here? Well, there's an easy reason for that. We could talk about how this isn't actually a guardian and he's actually a mage, but 5 times stories, so he'll have to be given a guardian role. How none of his abilities can actually be linked to him being helpful in any way. He can spit on people. He can go underground and become invisible. Oh, sorry, that's that one. He can roar and all of the toxic clouds around him can explode. But the real reason why Jorm is broken, or not broken, sorry, is annoying, is the World Serpent, where he can jump underground and jump out 3 separate times to land on enemies or to get away. But this also comes hand in hand that he's an immovable threat. So he can't be hit by CC, such as Ares can't pull him in, Fenrir can't pick him up. So he's already an annoying character from that respect. But also, to add insult to injury, he's just a god sort of character. He's one of the few guardians in the game that really shouldn't be the role of guardian, such as Cabrakan. But at least Cabrakan has some guardian type abilities. This guy may be submerge, it stops people chasing after them. He does have a crowd control based ability where it sort of deters you, makes you confused. But overall, every single one of Jormungandr's abilities is to do damage. But World Serpent sets him aside far more, that he's invincible while he does it. Nothing can touch him when he's in that form. And he can jump 3 times. In my Guardian tier list, I mentioned that you could change this to 2, or in many ways, I don't actually see how you could change him as a class. But the reason why you're under here, Jorm, is your ult is in ridiculous, and you're basically CC immune to anybody who wants to drag you somewhere. Sylvanas can't grab you, Daji can't touch you, basically you're fine. But are you the most annoying Guardian? No, you're not. But there may be one more. We'll move on to number 5. Number 5, another one that will hurt me slightly. Khepri, the Dawnbringer. Now, why is Khepri on here? Is he a Guardian? Yes, he is. A dash. Grab enemies and bring them closer towards you. Or if somebody's being chased, you grab them and you pull them back. You sacrifice yourself for the greater good. A line-based ability that does very little tick damage, but gives a buff to your minions and enemy minions and all that lovely stuff. Solar Flare, you hold them in place. If an assassin is chasing after a mage, you stop them from getting away. Or if you want to stun them, then grab them and pull them in. Fortitude, you give like a magical shell effect to all nearby people. You are a great dedicated tank, Khepri, and you should be proud. So why is the reason you're under here? Oh yeah, because your ult is insanely broken. And Khepri is just so stupid. In the term of this, his ultimate is Resurrection. Now, true, for instant kill based gods, such as Thanatos, Achilles, Alquan, they negate this. But what is the probability you're going to be playing any of those 3 gods when there's a Khepri in the lobby and he's just revived somebody? Very, very unlikely. Now, the whole problem with Khepri's ult is when somebody is low health, Khepri can hit them with an ability that it's actually got a good distance to it. Hit them, if they die, it resurrects them, the enemy team doesn't get the kill, and it drags them all the way across to Khepri, and at a certain amount of health and an increased movement speed. My question is, why the hell is this in the game? Now, I got very angry when they released an item that sort of does this, but to not the same effect. You respawn with a CC sort of level cooldown, but you're still probably going to die. So this is why Khepri is number 5. It's just because his ult is so strong. If you're playing a game of Conquest, you can see the Khepri in the background. As soon as somebody's low, you're like, okay, heal him. While you can stop attacking them, that gives the person ample opportunity to get their abilities up and run away. The only thing is, Khepri is the only god in the game who can bring somebody back to life. You have Geb who can put a shield on someone. Sylvanas can heal you. Ra can heal you. Kuan Yu can heal you. But no matter what, none of them can bring you back from death. Khepri is a brilliant, well-played Guardian, but his ult is just way too strong. An easy way I could say you could potentially change that: resurrect them, but they stay where they are when they die. Bringing them straight across to you is a little bit strong. But to be honest, I don't know how you're ever going to change Khepri. He's been in the game for a long time, but that ability, no matter what level you're at, that ability annoys people. Right. Right, number 4. Chung, or Chongha, as the weird rabbit calls it. Oops, need to be on that one. There you go. Why is she on this list? Well, it's another one similar to that of Danzabura, but also another one of that problem that we talk about. Too many abilities, and why did you give this ability to the goddess who has so many abilities already? Let's go over a few of them. Right, so, first one, her invincibility sort of thing. She, like, you know, jumps in the air, she's fine from damage, avoids tick. While doing this, she is basically immune. The cooldown can be reduced every so often with level, till it's like 14. Crowd control is completely dodged. Yeah, a nice slice gives you time. A lovely heal-based ability that heals you whenever you use it. Not to mention she gets mana back as well from when she dodges or avoids it. She restores mana from when you miss-hit her. Plus that onto the fact that she is a very strong healer. And that is the reason. 3 healers in this game who need to have work done. Why the hell did Hell get a buff? I really should have included her in this list, but we won't, because she's under the multi-skill ability annoyance. The other one we'll get to. But here, this one is another one. It's just a shame that it's the heal system. So Chang has an invincibility, we've covered, mana restore, heal, and the heal causes damage while she does it, plus with an already damage. Then we have a stun, which shoot, stun, cause damage, 90-second cooldown. Okay. So add all these together, we have a heal where she is insanely strong with the heal, mana restore, then we have damage, stun, invincibility. Okay. A lot of very, very good things. Then let's add on the fact that she has a stupid little fluffy bunny. Now this stupid little fluffy bunny, he can run away. And if you want to buy an item back at the base, this bunny will run off, he'll buy the item, he'll bring it back to you and a cup of coffee. Maybe a croissant if you're lucky. Why does this rabbit get to do that? Not to mention, it gets a dance move speed increase. So when you're playing Dance Dance Revolution, it gives you a buff. That's not true. So it's unfortunate that that bunny is broken. But why the hell has Chang got so many abilities? A heal, a stun, an invincibility, and then she gets to don't have to leave the base, I'll send the rabbit. The rabbit you can't attack, the rabbit you can't accidentally stand on. I mean, the amount of times I played Sobek or somebody, and I am a giant crocodile, I accidentally step on the bunny and I crush it. No, the bunny's invincible. It's a silly thing. Maybe it would be fun to add in an aspect that you can deter it, send it back to its owner that you can't go home and buy stuff. But Chang is a brilliant example of too many abilities then given an extremely strong ability. And a lot of people go, wait, that doesn't seem useful. But if you think about it in the game of Conquest, very strong ability. Send the rabbit, go buy something, bring it back. I don't have to back because I'm getting mana, I'm getting health, I'm getting all this lovely stuff. Assault, this is a broken concept. Send the rabbit back to buy something in a game of Assault. In the game type, you can't go back to the base anyway. But that's enough of Chang. Let's get to the top 3. Number 3 on the most ridiculous ability-based gods. We have Aphrodite, goddess of beauty. Another prime example, but stronger than the current existing Chang. Now, why is that? Let's look at your abilities. Kiss. This woman, in many respects, is a leech. She latches onto somebody and has them do the work while she heals them and supplies them with mana. This is a projectile that latches onto somebody, leeches onto their body, gives them mana, gives them movement speed, increases damage apparently. Jealousy, yeah, gotta love that. Back off, stamp on the ground, kick everybody away from that person and yourself. Lovebirds, it causes tick damage but also heals you and heals the person you're attached to. Undying Love makes you and your person invincible for 2 seconds if you're fully at the highest level. Now, how the hell does this woman make sense in any respect? Why would you invent a god that sole purpose is to attach herself to somebody else, have them do the work while she heals them? If you look at the heal system, why did she get nothing touched? Probably the most broken for a heal. Now, if you're in the role of support and she's your support, you're pretty much invincible. But the fact that Aphrodite gets nothing touched to her, plus they have the amazing idea, let's nerf the heal system, let's increase the effect of the Rod of Healing, and the Rod of whatever it was, Apophis or something, and that should be fine, but they say it's out of combat heal. Aphrodite, the best for heal other than Chang, doesn't ever just heal somebody not in combat. That's the whole point of her goal. She fights in combat and heals the person in combat. 9 times out of 10, somebody will always try and fight the person she's healing rather than kill the leech. However, you can't get near the leech because she'll push you away. She'll turn herself invincible. A problem that you have with 2 healer-based mages back to back. Now, the only reason why she is, I'd say, more annoying than Chang is because at the very least she is just beyond belief. That her whole purpose is that I'm going to have this person do all the work, I'll heal them, give them mana. At least Chang, it was just her. She could heal them, but she couldn't make them invincible. She couldn't give them mana. She couldn't get the rabbit to go buy them something. Aphrodite, all she does is do it for her and the enemy. Sorry, and her teammate. Which in many ways is why she is a ridiculous god and absolutely stupid. Now, I do want to mention these are the top 3 most ridiculous gods I think in this game. Sure, I may have missed a few. I might have to do another list. But for Aphrodite, ridiculous. Now we come to number 2, who I should say should be number 1, but they're the number 1. My lord, you don't want to see me angry. Let's go to number 2. Number 2, Nuwa. Guardian of Heaven, more like the bitch in hell. Sorry, did I say that? Nuwa. Why is she annoying? She uses a fog which cloaks herself and her allies. Bearing in mind there was supposed to be a patch note I saw years ago where it would only cloak herself, not the allies. For some reason that was never implemented. I remember reading that. This tick damage causes 150 damage plus 50% of her own magical damage. For something that turns her invisible and gives her movement speed, does that much damage. Discordia does 0. Okay. Minions stronger than fuck. Minions, class pet. No, it's a minion. Sends out 3 soldiers which are faster than the average minion, stronger than the average minion, has more health than the average minion, and if she fires this lovely shiny ball at it, causes way more damage than it specifies. And I will say that. I read down this up and down, and I looked at the damage and I went, that's nowhere. And I went, it's a combination. I probably don't tell you about that. But that causes way more damage than it's supposed to. I think it's like a seller bug that it does even more damage. Here's a brilliant one. Every time you land your 5th successful hit, she'll hit you with a root that stops you from moving. So, what do we have? We have a puff of smoke that's more damaging than half of the other god-based abilities, and actually more damage than Heibwo pushing water at your face at 100 miles an hour. A group of minions that are way stronger than every other minion in the game, aside from Argus. That 3 of them can all just rush you at once. They're faster than you. Thanks for taking away the boots. Now I can't run away from them. And they have a good range, and they actually explode upon impact, stunning you, stopping you from getting away, and do 3 times more damage than you say they actually do. What possible way could we make this annoying bitch any stronger? I know! Let's give her an ability that hits every single god in the entire fucking game. Noir is my least favorite god in this entire game. And this is my ability list on stupid abilities that don't make sense. These three at the top make zero sense. I want Noir gone from this stupid game. Who in their right mind thought that was a good idea? Fire 5 bombs, go up in the air, and they hit every single player on the enemy team no matter what. And you go, hey man, just use the amulet. I did. It's a 150-second cooldown. Hers is 110 cooldown. If she buys Kronos' pendant, it's a 90-second cooldown. 150, but wait a minute, I didn't buy the upgraded version of the amulet. So I only have the 180-second one. So she could hit me with 2 ults before I even get one off. Oh, and who's to say that she's not the only strongest one in the game? I just wasted my amulet blocking a cellar attack. I wasted my amulet stopping Thanatos from killing me in one hit. Oh wait, never mind. Noir just makes no bloody sense. She has been top damage of so many games. She has been top kills of so many games. She is the most skillless god I have ever seen on this game, and it makes me angry how she was never changed. At least Neith and Danzebra can only hit one bloody person with her ults. At least Thanatos, when he lands on someone, instantly kills one person. Alquan eats one person. Achilles instantly kills whoever's the lowest. True, he could get 5 with one ability, but that's very unlikely. The best I've ever seen a Noir do is she got a triple kill from pressing the triangle button. Now, unlike characters like Sella, press the triangle button, you have to aim and hit. Zeus, you press the triangle button on one small area, people can walk out of it, you press circle, kaboom, still damaging. But she presses triangle and every single person in the entire enemy team gets hit. Assault, this is broken. Conquest, this is broken. And the lovely thing is, high res don't see any problem with this. And if I were to say this now and forever, high res, you have no idea what a good god is if it hit you in the back of the head. Or a broken god. But, that being said, she's number 2. She does sort of make sense-ish. Her fog, maybe don't cause damage. Her minions, maybe don't make them as fast. They still can explode, but really reduce the damage. And her ult, maybe have it hit 2 random players. It hits 3 random players. It just doesn't hit every single person. Or, better yet, she can pick 2 gods who they hit. But no, you'll never change them, because you're really quite stupid. But you're not the worst. Noir, you're not the worst. Who's number 1? And high res. What the fuck were you thinking? Let's go to number 1. Number 1. Cthulhu. Or as he calls it, Cthulhu, because he can't speak English very well, and probably doesn't know what it is because he's a bit too stupid. That's not a brain, that's just all air in the top of his head, which probably might be the same with a couple of high-res developers. Now, throughout all of this I have made fun of high-res occasionally here and there, but this one is undoubtedly the most stupid. Why the hell is he in this game? Now, undoubtedly, he is from The Sinking City, a great game. I recommend you play it if it's back in the store by now. I don't know. I haven't seen it in the store in a while. I'm almost certain that 2 cars collided or two people bumped into each other. A high-res developer and the Sinking City developer, and the briefcases got lost, and he went, "Oh, okay, thank you. I'll take this one." Then he walked home. The Sinking City developer opened the box and he went, Why are there so many Polynesian gods in here? Hey look, a couple of voodoo and a couple of, what does that say? Slavic. Why have I got all of these? And that guy opened up, and then the high-res developer opened up his box and went, Cthulhu. It'll do. Throw him under the bus. But without further ado, let's talk about the giant bloody Squidward and find out what exactly he is and why he's here. Right, first off, this is a attack that he sneezes on you. That's pretty much it. Right, let's see. Causes damage. It causes 270 damage and 40% of his own magical power. A great ability for a giant guardian. Yes, it slows your attack speed, adds fear and damage mitigation. Oh, so many joyous types of abilities and so much detail for a bloody Guardian. Oh, let's add in a ground attack. A ground attack that covers the entire area in mass, and it has like a massive pool of it. Best part about this ability, it's bigger than Poseidon's area effect, bigger than Skadi, bigger than about the same size as Zeus's ult, bigger than Sela's area of effect, bigger than Loki's area of effect, bigger than most of them. Best part is, the radius is 20 to 30. I'm pretty sure you're wrong about that, but I'll believe you. Damage per tick can go up to 230 plus 30% of your magical power. That's a great thing to have when it's 30% of your magical power, because for some unknown reason, the Guardian needs to have magical power. It slows you down, corruption slow, adds on the mere duration. Ooh, and it also adds on slow root. If you stay in it too long, you get rooted in place. Joy. Then we have a dash. Great, Guardian with a dash. Hey, this isn't just any dash. This is a dash that will beat any other dash in the entire game. Test it. You're a Kuumbragana. Nope, you're not. You're Sung Wukong. Nope, you're not. Yep, you're a Sobek and you want to grab him. Nope. He will beat you all up. Plus, gotta love that 30% damage. Gotta love to see it. Love to see it every single time. Projectile damage. Didn't know that was a thing, but sweet. He has it. Woohoo! And his passive. His passive. Let's talk about his passive. Yes. Adds fear. The more torment, the more duration, the more this, the more that. A brilliant ability for an assassin. A brilliant ability for like a mage. Make them scared. Why does the Guardian have it? Who knows? Let's just throw it in. Hey, here's a great idea. Let's throw in an ability that's similar to Fafnir, Vamana, and Kukullan, whatever his name is. The big, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde guy. Hey, yeah, let's see what this does. Let's see. Sweet. Press triangle. There's no warm-up. There's no slow, there's no cool ability to do it. Press triangle and I am the biggest thing in the fucking world. Sweet. It hits damage when I bloody do it. My damage is increased by 50% because I'm broken as fuck. Max health gets increased, duration, it's longer. But don't worry, they released a patch a while ago. He can't use relics while he's in that ability. Imagine that. Imagine another god like this, who's Fafnir, who has to wait to cool up to use his ability. And with all that in total, look at the bloody thing. It looks like flipping a giant... It doesn't even look remote... Ugh. Alright, we're not shaming him because he's weird looking. That's not fine. That's not cool, my bad. But I just have one question. Hi-Rez, what the actual fuck were you thinking when you released him? And it brings me back to my golden point. Since this god, I don't believe there to have been a single god who has been tested. I call you out. If you have said you've tested these gods on a test server, or you've at least had a competent person play them, I'm calling you a damn liar right now. There is zero way in hell this guy was tested before release. Since his release, he had 6 nerfs. And still, he is so strong. A Guardian should never be top damage. At any point. Maybe Cabrakan, because Cabrakan is built like that. He's supposed to be. Jorm struggles to get top because he takes him a while after a big ton of nerfs. But the nerfs affected Jorm actually helped him. He's getting buffs again because he's a little bit because he's a little bit too low down now. This guy, I don't know how he got into the game, how he makes sense. He is the dumbest god in this entire game. If there is a mythology that has Cthulhu in it, please come and grab me and take me to the Dream Realm or wherever the hell you're from. Because you are much better in the Sinking City, I tell you that right now. But it's just when I look down my tiny piece of paper with all the random notes on it, I have all sorts of gods on here. Tiamat, the reason why she was annoying was she summons 2 buffs. Hera had a big mech that disappears. Danzebra, too many abilities and, well, just too many abilities in general. Kepri can bring people back alive. Noir, even Noir, who can hit every single god in the game, this guy just doesn't add up. Now, I could talk about this for hours. And those top 3 I will mention as well. I have 4 gods on another video that I want removed from the game, and these 3 for their dumb abilities are under that list. But I'll have to clip all this together. But so, without a doubt, there are the top 14 most ridiculous god abilities. Now, if you understood from the first part, I am only specifying the 7 are abilities that are weird, that don't make sense. 4 are abilities that are way too strong and potentially could be checked, removed, or looked at. And the top 3 are what were high-res thinking, maybe somebody needed to be sacked. And I still I still say I love this game. It's just such a shame from what it used to be. Because now gods aren't getting tested well enough. And it just makes you sad. After looking at the Persephone rework, not a lot was done. And she's still insanely overpowered. And the words of that, the Beset are getting reworked. She hasn't been in ages. And she does need looking at. But without further ado, that is my list. I'll have a fun time trying to upload this all into one go. Next time I will be on here, I will probably be covering something a little bit more fun and a little bit more happy. I'll be doing the top 10 list of Smite maps on which are the most fun to play. Thanks for watching, and this was the top 14 most ridiculous gods by abilities. Cthulhu, you can go burn in hell, you stupid, ugly